Welcome to Poetry Lockdown. We are up to day 72. I've got a couple of goodies for today's lockdown on this Memorial Day. So I've talked before about the ways that poetry can intersect with politics. I think poetry can be a powerful, nourishing force for good in a person's civic imagination. And I speak from the perspective of an American, fully aware of all of the ways that my nation state has not been a force for good. But that said, there are resources within our history that are for the good. One writer who I've drawn a lot of nourishment from, and maybe some of you have read before, is a novelist, actually. Her name's Marilynne Robinson. She just wrote a really terrific essay, which I linked in the Facebook post, called "What Kind of Country Do We Want?" Faced with this global pandemic, a lot of countries are doing a lot of soul searching, and the United States definitely is among them. And she argues in this essay, and I'm not going to summarize the whole thing, but basically, there's a lot of arguments for operating based on competition or scarcity. And Robinson says, no, like we should not be operating from those principles. Those are not our better angels. Let's operate instead from a sense of profound justice and responsibility. Before I read the classic new Colossus poem, inscribed on the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty, I want to share with you Marilynne Robinson's close of her essay, because I think it ties really nicely into that poem. She says at the end of her essay, what kind of country do we want? Marilynne Robinson says, and all this comes down to the need to recover and sharpen a functioning sense of justice based on a reverent appreciation of humankind, all together and one by one. The authenticity of our understanding must be demonstrated in our attempting to act justly, even at steep cost to ourselves. We can do this as individuals and as a nation. Someday we will walk out onto a crowded street and hear that joyful noise. We must hope to do nothing to darken or still, having learned so recently that humankind is fragile and wonderful. It's beautiful. I know some people might say that Marilynne Robinson is naive and maybe a little pie in the sky. She was friends with Barack Obama. She has a terrific interview with him. She has a sense that there is a real possibility for greatness in just the very idea of the United States. And I know there's lots of reasons to doubt that. At the same time, let me read for you a poem that was written, I believe, in 1883, which I think even back then, 150 odd years ago, I think really validates some of those same principles that Marilynne Robinson finds faith in, and I do too. The New Colossus. Emma Lazarus writes about the Statue of Liberty. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name is Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tost, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Lovely, right? And I've talked a lot in this Poetry Lockdown series about turns or shifts in poems. And I know Emma Lazarus has composed a sonnet which actually has a natural turn, or I think they call it volta in the Italian. And we have here, she's contrasting, right? This is not like the ancient Colossus, which is kind of like a defender or protector. Here, we have a welcoming mother of exiles. That's the Statue of Liberty. And I love that the turning point, keep, is, the imperative verb, keep ancient lands, your storied pomp. We've got to turn, and this is not a statue of defense. It's a statue of welcome. And I think that turning point really speaks to, the better angels of what our country might be. So with that in mind, I'll read the turn of this sonnet and wish you all a happy Memorial Day. Keep ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tost to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Thank you, Emma Lazarus, and thank you all for listening. I hope it's a blessed and peaceful Memorial Day for y'all.